Hello, and welcome to the Orientation to Ontario podcast series. My name is Mo, and I'm really glad you're joining us today. The Orientation to Ontario, or O2O podcast series, is created especially for newcomers like you to make settling in Ontario a little easier. Each episode explores a different topic, from housing and healthcare to employment, education, and community life, giving you practical information and helpful tips. In today's episode, we're talking about an important topic that affects all of us living in Canada: anti-Indigenous racism in Ontario. Maybe you've heard the term before, or maybe this is your first time learning about it. Either way, understanding Canada's history with Indigenous peoples and the ongoing impacts of colonization is an essential part of building a respectful and inclusive future. And as always, I'm joined by my thoughtful co-host, Tina.
Thanks, Mo. Hello, everyone. It's good to be here with you again. This topic is so important, especially for newcomers. When I first arrived in Canada, I didn't know much about Indigenous peoples or their history. Over time, I learned how colonization, discrimination, and broken promises have impacted generations of Indigenous people, and how this still continues today in many ways. Having honest conversations like this helps us all move forward together with understanding and respect.
Absolutely, Tina. Let's begin with a bit of background. Indigenous peoples have lived on this land since time immemorial, long before Canada was formed. They include three main groups: First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. Each group has its own unique cultures, languages, and traditions. There are over 600 First Nations in Canada and more than 70 Indigenous languages. The Inuit live mainly in Canada's north and speak languages like Inuktitut. The Métis have mixed Indigenous and European ancestry and a culture all their own.
Thanks for that, Mo. Now, many newcomers might not be aware of how colonization changed everything for Indigenous communities. When French and British settlers arrived in the 1600s and 1700s, their goal was to control land and resources. At first, there was trade and cooperation, but over time, Indigenous peoples were pushed off their lands, forced onto reserves, and subjected to policies meant to erase their cultures. One of the most harmful examples is the residential school system. For more than 150 years, Indigenous children were taken from their families, often by force, and placed in schools designed to eliminate their language and culture. Many experienced abuse and trauma, and this has had deep effects on generations of Indigenous families.
It's heartbreaking, Tina. And even though residential schools officially closed in 1997, the effects are still felt today. That's why we need to talk about modern anti-Indigenous racism. Indigenous peoples continue to face discrimination in many areas, like healthcare, education, the justice system, and employment. For example, Indigenous men make up over 30% of Canada's prison population, even though Indigenous people are only about 5% of the total population. Indigenous women and girls also face disproportionately high rates of violence and go missing or are murdered at much higher rates than non-Indigenous women.
Yes, and sadly, many of these cases go unsolved or don't get the attention they deserve due to systemic racism in policing and government systems. And while Indigenous children make up less than 8% of all children in Canada, they represent over half of the children in foster care. This is another example of how colonial systems continue to impact families and communities. It's also important to mention land rights. Many treaties made with Indigenous nations were never honored, leading to legal battles and protests that continue today.
And this history is sometimes reflected in surprising ways. Did you know that the popular striped blankets sold at the Bay have a controversial past? They were once traded during the fur trade era, but some historical records suggest they may have been used to spread smallpox among Indigenous communities, either accidentally or deliberately. This shows how objects and symbols can have very different meanings depending on history and perspective.
That's a powerful example, Mo. It reminds us that learning about the truth of Canada's past, even the uncomfortable parts, is a step toward reconciliation. If you'd like to learn more, there are great resources available. You can visit nccih.ca for information on anti-Indigenous racism, or ilc.org if you're interested in learning online at your own pace and want to include this important history in your studies.
Thanks, Tina. This conversation may feel heavy, but it's so necessary. As newcomers, understanding the truth about this land and its peoples helps us become better neighbors, co-workers, and community members.
Exactly, Mo. Respecting Indigenous voices, supporting Indigenous-led movements, and continuing to listen and learn, these are all part of building a more inclusive Ontario.
Well said. That brings us to the end of today's episode of the Orientation to Ontario podcast series. Thank you for listening. To learn more and explore resources in multiple languages, visit our website and check out our digital tools, including the webinars, fact sheets, the mental health guide, the Arrive On app, the O2O chatbot, and the First Steps in Canada Planner. You'll find the link to our website and all digital resources in the description below. Until next time, take care, and once again, welcome to Ontario.